Welcome back, everybody. You're here at Birth of a New Earth with Janice Barcelo and George Kavassilas. We were talking about the distinction between the real creator, the universal creator, as George refers to that energy, compared with the deity that people are worshiping, the Judeo-Christian God, who I think it's even the same entity in Islam, if I'm not incorrect. So there's a lot of people worshiping an impostor and believing that that's the real creator. I wonder if we could go into some more detail about that distinction, George.
Well, in all honesty, there's probably about 99.9% of the population on the planet worshipping that creator, and not in the form of worship that people will understand about getting on their knees. The programs of this God entity are far more sophisticated than just the old-fashioned notion of the God of the Old Testament demanding worship. Far more sophisticated than that. This being has been around for a very long time and has worked its way to the top of this most amazing position and role-playing in this universe. And the universe has been, you know, when I hear people talking about, like, say, the world of science, the religion, because science is a religion, true science,
Yes,
there's very little true science going on in this world.
Yeah.
But the religious science will say that creation has been around for about 14 billion years, or maybe a bit longer than that. That is so far from the mark. There are no numbers that you can attach to the age of this universe. In reality, there isn't. Simply, if you think about the great arena, for example, the great arena itself has parallel universes within it, the universal matrix, what I call the universal matrix, the organic one. It has untold numbers of parallel universes within it, and that is one section of the main universe. So the magnitude of what I'm sharing here is so great, it's very challenging for our current mental paradigm to actually grasp these concepts. You actually have to go beyond the framework of your mind and really start getting back into your core essence of who and what you are and your soul to really understand, to begin to really grasp the concepts, because this will make people's minds hurt.
Well, in an effort to bring it into a more grounded space, because I fully understood what you spoke about when I listened to one of your videos. My mind really got it right away. Can we share a little bit with the listeners about what are some of the programs of this very sophisticated false God, imposter God? What are some of the programs that people are participating in?
Sure. So whether someone is a fanatical Christian, whether somebody's a fanatical Islamist or a fanatical Buddhist or a Hindu,
Zionist,
or shaman, because the majority of the shamanism in this world has been infiltrated too. This entity has infiltrated every single one. Or whether you're a part of a secret society and you're participating in occult rituals, and the practices and the doctrines of these cults and occults, well, you're all, and I can't leave out the New Age religion. So all of those have a common denominator. So people think they've gone from Christianity to the New Age religion, and they think they're free and they're sovereign and they're broken free from that God entity. Well, no, all it's done is presented a different package, a different set of programs and doctrines, but it's still the same system, like the mechanisms that people are using. And I'll give an example.
Yes, please.
And I understand this is very challenging for people. I do. I understand that. But I ask people to really try and let go of their programming and start getting into more of the organic, natural order of life. So whether you sit and you meditate and you align your chakras, for example, and you try to open your crown chakra, well, opening your crown chakra to connect with God and accessing God through your pineal gland, for example, is absolutely no different to the opening of the seventh seal, because the chakras are the seven seals, and connecting with God. It is no different when you're doing Kundalini meditation and you get the Kundalini going up the spine towards the pineal gland. So you're going up your 33 vertebrae where you get to the top and you become a 33rd degree Freemason. And you hit the pineal gland, and because you're using spirit fire in Masonry, which is Kundalini in the New Age religion, which is Holy Ghost in the fanatical Christianity, and you open the seventh seal, you open the crown chakra, you're opening the pineal gland. Each group has its own name for it. It's the same program. It's just
shouldn't we be asking what are we opening ourselves up to? I've heard you speak of chakras as portals of manipulation, and here we are inviting what kind of energies to come into our system and manipulate us.
Well, chakras are a technology. They are a technology. If for anybody who experiences life beyond, so the question to ask oneself is, do I exist beyond the chakra system? Do I exist beyond this energy known as Kundalini, or is that all I am? Do I exist beyond accessing knowledge of the universe through my pineal gland and achieving what I label, and the majority of life in the universe labels, mind enlightenment? Because the pineal gland is in the environment of the brain, it's in the environment of the mind. You see, your soul is something different.
Very.
and the love that one experiences through a heart chakra is so incredibly shallow relative to the love and the beingness one experiences through your soul center. It's a very different experience. It's a very different version of love. So people are caught up in the spiritual practices and the spiritual doctrines and dogma of the, first of all, if you just look at it in recent times, the ruling elite of the ancient past, because they kept it really secret for a very long time. Now it's just flooded the public arena, hasn't it? Isn't that interesting? Why that would be happening right now?
Why is it happening right now, George?
The reason it's happening right now is because it's harvest time. So people are being aligned. And when you look at the pineal gland, and I mean really look at the pineal gland, and there's so much glorification of the pineal gland. People have gone as far as calling it the seat of the soul, and that could not be further from the truth. It really could not. What the pineal gland enables one to do is, it's first of all, if you really look at it and you really know your body, you're really in deep communication with your body, you will know that it is a foreign body. Half the world's population does not drink fluoridated water, yet that half of the world's population have calcified pineal glands. And I'll tell you why, because I haven't drunk fluoridated water for 20 to 30 years. And I'll tell you why my pineal gland is calcified. That's because I'm purposefully making it redundant, because I'm not going to access knowledge through my pineal gland. I'm going to access knowledge through my core center of who and what I am. This is my third eye, not this. This is my eye of universal creation, not this. So what that does, the pineal gland is a biological implant. And that will sound crazy to so many people, because they go, well, hang on, it's such an integral part of my glandular system, of the endocrine system. Well, it's positioned beautifully between the pituitary and the amygdala, the feminine, the amygdala, the pituitary, the masculine. The pineal gland is like the moon that's been placed between the earth and the sun. You see, it's an interface. And what it does is it's a tuner, and it calibrates people to the synthetic universe and the creations of the God entity, because this universe has been around for a really long time. And if we understand what it's like to be a cosmic conqueror, if you put yourself in the position of being a cosmic conqueror and you are approaching a planetary population, how would you go about controlling that population? Would you just do it with forces on the ground? Well, we've all tried that, and it doesn't work, because you get rebellions after a while. That's a temporary thing. No, what you do is you dig as deep into that reality as you can, and you try and reach into the most foundational templates of that reality and work from there out. So what you do is you implant technology, energetic technical implants, such as the chakra system, such as the kundalini, which is the foundational base energies of the synthetic dark and the synthetic light. And you also put in a biological implant, which you can then make it look like it's all part of the natural makeup. And then you get people to want to participate in practices and engage in those technologies that you've implanted into those beings. It's not rocket science. It's basic control and manipulation of a species. It is not difficult to actually wrap your mind around that we have been seduced into believing that this is the pathway to enlightenment, and it's not. It's the pathway to a particular version of enlightenment, and it's the version of enlightenment that this God entity wants you to participate in and to love and to glorify.
You said something earlier, George, and we've got only about 4.5 minutes before break, so I want to give you a heads up on that, that this is harvest time. What does that mean? What does that mean?
Okay, so we're on the precipice of integrating and imploding all our dimensions. So there's what I call the ascension deception. That's what I'm calling it, the ascension deception, because it's all about getting people to, it's propagating the discarnate condition in this world. It's turned people to resent their existence here and to focus on things outside of themselves and to give their power away to beings beyond this reality and to beyond what they perceive their own abilities are. So we've been diminished in our nature, and we've been led to believe that we are somehow immature, infantile, relative to life in the universe, which couldn't be further from the truth. It is
children
the greatest
of God.
lie.
We are children.
Oh, that's and also that we are at the bottom of the universe. I can explain why this reality is so dense, and it's got nothing to do with being at the bottom of the universe. That is a total lie. This is cosmopolitical propaganda. Seriously, not just exopolitical. This is cosmopolitical propaganda. This comes from multi-dimensions out there in the universe, in the great cosmic arena, through the universal matrix. This God entity is a very big and powerful entity relative to life within the arena, and we need to respect and understand its capabilities. And this is cosmopolitics, and it's a very fierce campaign at the moment to win the minds and the hearts of the human race because of who and what we are.
We see that over and over, especially in the New Age movement, how, your thoughts create your reality, your mind is everything. What's going on in your body, all your feelings, all the information you're getting through your feelings, that doesn't matter. What really matters is what's going on in the mind, and that's what we have to pay attention to. So I'm really glad to be having this conversation. I know it's almost about time for us to go to break, so thank you. George, when we went to the break, we were talking a little bit about how the entity that's masquerading as God has been promoting the idea of the mind as the most important thing. Do you have any sense of why this energy has chosen to focus on the mind as opposed to, something else like, sexuality is the most important thing and the Kundalini serpent in our nervous system is the most important thing? You want to share your thoughts about that?
Yeah, sure. The reason it's focus and it creates so much an aura of importance around this mind energy is because that's what it is itself. It is a mind entity. You see, what we have is the earthly matrix, and then we have the cosmic matrix. So most people know about the earthly matrix being talked and exposed in this world quite vigorously lately on this planet. But there's not many people talking about the cosmic matrix. And that's the big trap most people are falling into, because the God entity that's created this cosmic matrix and this synthetic universe has reached into many realities and domains. And like here on Earth, we have our ego. Our ego actually resides in the environment of the mind. It's a mind construct. So what people don't understand is we not only have an earthly ego, but we also have a cosmic ego. The notion that only Earth humans have egos and all the extraterrestrial races out there don't have egos is so ludicrous. It's so ludicrous. It's ridiculous. Every single extraterrestrial being and interdimensional being has an ego. That's fact. That's reality. Even God entities have egos, otherwise they would not be soliciting worship and molesting the spirits of humanity.
Right on.
We need to understand that this God entity is suffering from such egoic insanity. It sees itself. It's self-deluded to think that it's the creator of all that is and all that exists. And it sells and propagates the idea and the notion that we all spawned, that we are little bits that come out of the one, right? And that is the great deception, because we are infinite. When you understand what it means to be infinite, you realize that there is no such thing as totality. There is no totality. Therefore, there is no one, anything. I understand the concept of being one with life, where you live in harmony and synchronicity with life, and you integrate and you are the all in this universe. So I am you, for example, you are I. I understand that. But to say that we are one, then you encapsulate it. You create boundaries and borders and you put limits on it. And so the type of notion of being one that this God entity is promoting is really sophisticated versions of collectivism. These are collective hive mind mentalities where everybody is one. It's a totally different concept and construct to the organic way of life. It's fascinating once you start getting that point of reference and you can really see the tactics.
You had spoken, George, of in addition to a synthetic universe created by an impostor God, I guess we're all collaborating with that, creating that synthetic universe with the impostor God?
Oh, absolutely. We all decided to make an agreement with it. And in fact, what we actually did from a much greater aspect of our beings is we contracted that being to come and impose its programs on limitations upon us, because we are at the very end. Not everybody on this planet, but there are those of us who know we are at the very end of our universal journey, this journey through the universal matrix. And because we're about to implode, integrate everything that we've seen, done and been in this universe into one expression, that's what's really going on here, as opposed to the ascension deception where people are going to be taken from here to a higher vibratory reality. You see the difference between the two? And people need to understand that this God entity has created its own heavenly realms. It's got a multitude of realities and domains to cater for every different mindset. It expresses itself in so many different flavors. It presents itself in so many different forms of deities. So it's got all the plethora of deific figures here in this world. It's quite amazing when you really understand the magnitude of the deception. Oh my goodness, people just are so taken in by the programs and the doctrines of this entity because they think they go from one to the other to the other. It's all the same program, like I mentioned earlier, and the mechanisms, the three mechanisms, are all the same in every single one of them. That's the common denominator. It's the mechanical, the technology, and the procedures that people are using. Even though they're approaching it in a slightly different way, you're all going to end up in the same place, because it's kind of like you have a building, and you have a large building, and you have doorways all around that building, and each doorway has its own advertising campaign, its own marketing campaign to lure you into that building. So you go past one door and you go, oh, I don't like that one. So you move along and you go, oh, I don't like that, and you go around the corner and then, oh, that looks nice. You know, that's got your attention. So you participate in those practices and those doctrines, and you like the flavor of those entities that are presenting themselves as your spiritual mentors. And then you open the door and you go in, but you're really in the same building as everybody else, if that makes sense. So the attempt for this God entity to replicate the organic universe to its best degree, because it needs to convince people that it's the true creator. So it's going to present some really alluring programs. angels, ascended masters. It has its own spiritual hierarchies. Like I said, it has its own heavenly realms. And people aren't all going to go, when I say they all go into the same building, basically I'm talking about the construct of the synthetic universe. But that has a myriad, a multitude of realities and domains. And the reason I know that is because I know my universal journey. And I know I've already gone through that fun park, if you want to call it. I've already explored all of the realities and the domains that that entity has to offer, because I'm at the end of my universal journey. I'm at the end of my journey through this universe. And the reason why this reality is so dense is because this is a fractal reality. Because we needed to take, you know, when we came in and became soul and became one with the creator of the universe, we then started branching out and exploring and expressing from the soul out. We created consciousness, which is the mind energy. We created spirit, which is a vehicle that carries different aspects of self. And then we started incarnating into realities and domains, which we co-created with other beings, and we've all co-created with the creator of this universe. This universe is a co-creation. It's a magnificent place. And then we explored all these different vibrational realities, domains, every nook and cranny, every expression, all the light, all the dark, all the positive, all the negative. We've seen everything there is to see. We've done everything there is to do. We've been everything there is to be. And now we needed to bring all of that fragmentation, we needed to reintegrate that into one expression to bring it all back home. So we started creating this galaxy, right?
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we've only got about a minute and a half left. So I'm asking you to wind it down and also to let people know how they can find you.
We've only, so we created a galaxy by being a compressed version of the universe. So the galaxy is a fractal of the entire universal arena, on the entire universe, as a matter of fact. And then the solar system, then the earth, then the human vessel. And that's why our genes are a fractal of the universe. And that is why this reality is so dense, because we're at the end. We're taking it all through the eye of the needle. We're bringing it home. And this is where the temporal meets the soul. This is immaculate conception going on. That's what you embody. That's what you are.